You tell yourself you don't care what other people think. You say it to your friends. You repeat it in your head. But let's be honest, a single positive comment can lift you up for hours, while one negative remark can completely ruin your entire day. Why does that happen? Why do we give so much power to the opinions of others? Here's the secret. That intense need for validation isn't a sign of weakness. It's not a character flaw. It's ancient survival wiring, built into your brain over thousands of years. Today, we're going to dive into the psychology of why humans crave validation from others, and why a little bit of approval feels so incredibly powerful. And once you understand the science behind it, you'll see why it's not something to be ashamed of, but something to understand and manage. Let's travel back in time. For most of human history, we lived in small, tightly knit tribes. In that environment, being accepted by your group was everything. It wasn't about being popular. It was about survival. Acceptance meant you had protection from predators, you had a share of the food and resources, and you had allies to help you when you were sick or injured. On the other hand, rejection or exile was a death sentence. It meant losing all of that protection, losing access to essential resources, and facing the harsh realities of the world completely alone. Can you imagine that fear? So, over generations, the human brain developed a simple but powerful rule. Belonging keeps me alive. Approval equals safety. Rejection equals danger. That fundamental wiring has been passed down through our ancestors, and it never disappeared. Even though today we live in a world of cities and supermarkets, that ancient part of our brain is still running the same old software. It's constantly scanning our social environment, asking, am I accepted? Am I safe? This is why we feel such a primal urge to fit in and be liked. It's not about ego. It's an echo of a time when our very existence depended on it. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Modern neuroscience has shown that the brain processes social pain and physical pain in a remarkably similar way. When you experience social rejection like being left out, criticized, or publicly embarrassed, your brain activates the same regions that light up when you suffer a physical injury, like getting a cut or breaking a bone. That's why embarrassment actually hurts. It's why harsh criticism can linger in your mind for days, feeling like a persistent ache. It's why being ignored or getting the silent treatment feels so heavy and unsettling. Your brain doesn't really distinguish between the pain of a broken heart and the pain of a broken leg. To your neural circuitry, social danger is real danger. So, when you feel that sting of rejection, it's not you being overly sensitive. It's your brain's alarm system, screaming that your connection to the tribe is threatened, and therefore, your survival is at risk. It has a completely automatic and powerful response designed to get you to fix the social bond as quickly as possible. So, what happens on the flip side when we get the approval we crave? A like on social media, a word of praise from your boss, a compliment from a friend, they all feel good, right? That feeling is largely driven by a neurotransmitter called dopamine. When someone validates us, our brain releases a hit of dopamine, creating a sensation of pleasure and reward. But here's the tricky part about dopamine. Its primary job isn't to create lasting happiness or contentment. Its job is to create craving. It's the wanting chemical. After you get that dopamine hit, your brain doesn't say, okay, I'm satisfied now. Instead, it says, that felt good. Let's get more of that. This creates a powerful feedback loop. The more validation we get, the more we want. And this cycle is even stronger when the validation is unpredictable. The uncertainty of whether you'll get a like, a comment, or a compliment keeps you checking, posting, and seeking, turning the quest for approval into an addictive behavior. It's the same mechanism that makes slot machines so compelling. This brings us to a big question. If external validation feels so good, why does self-validation often feel so much weaker? You can tell yourself 100 times that you did a great job, but one word of praise from someone else can feel 10 times more real and impactful. Why is that? The reason is simple. The brain is lazy. It's designed to conserve energy, and it always prefers the path of least resistance. External validation is a shortcut. It's immediate, it's effortless, and it gives you that quick dopamine hit we just talked about. Someone else does the work of judging your value, and you just get to enjoy the reward. Internal validation, on the other hand, is hard work. It requires conscious effort, deep self-trust, emotional maturity, and the ability to sit with your own feelings without needing an outside verdict. You have to build your own internal framework for what good enough means. Because the brain prefers the easy, immediate reward. A compliment from a stranger often feels more significant than your own deeply held self-belief, even when both are saying the exact same thing. Our relationship with validation often starts long before we even know what the word means. Our childhood experiences play a huge role in setting the pattern for how much we need approval as adults. If you grew up in an environment where love, attention, and approval were consistent and unconditional, you likely developed a secure sense of self. You learn that you are valuable just for being you. But if approval was inconsistent, or conditional if you were only praised when you got good grades, or only given attention when you behaved a certain way, your brain learned a different lesson. It learned that love must be earned. It learned to constantly monitor others for signs of approval and to perform in order to get it. In this case, validation doesn't feel like an ego boost. It feels like a requirement for safety and connection. It becomes intertwined with your core sense of worth. As an adult, you might find yourself unconsciously replaying this pattern, constantly chasing approval from bosses, partners, or even strangers online, because that's how your brain learned to feel secure. Now, let's fast forward to the world we live in today. Modern life, and especially social media, has taken this ancient need for validation and amplified it 1,000 times over. Our brains were designed to handle the opinions of a small tribe of maybe 150 people. They were never, ever designed to handle the constant 24/7 evaluation from potentially thousands or even millions of people online. Social media has turned approval into a quantifiable game. Likes, shares, comments, follower counts, these are all numerical scores for our social standing. Our brain sees these numbers and interprets them through that ancient survival lens. A high number of likes feels like acceptance from the tribe. A low number of likes, or a negative comment, feels like rejection and a threat. This creates a state of chronic social monitoring. Our brain is constantly checking, am I accepted right now? What about now? How am I doing now? The system is always on, and it never gets a chance to rest. This relentless cycle is a huge source of anxiety and stress in the modern world. So, what can we do about it? The goal isn't to completely eliminate the need for validation. That's probably impossible, and we are social creatures after all. The goal is to rebalance it, to shift the power from outside sources to within yourself. The first step is simply to notice the craving. When you post something and feel that urge to check for likes, just acknowledge it without judgment. Say to yourself, there's that ancient wiring kicking in again. Second, start consciously separating your worth from the reaction you get. Remind yourself that a lack of likes doesn't mean you lack value. It just means the algorithm didn't favor you today. Third, and most importantly, start building your own internal reference points. Define for yourself what success looks like. Celebrate your own efforts, regardless of the outcome. Practice self-compassion. The more you build this internal foundation, the less you'll be shaken by the winds of external opinion. Approval can still feel good, but it will no longer be something that defines you. In the end, needing validation doesn't mean you're weak or insecure. It means you're human. It means your brain is still running software that remembers a time when belonging meant survival. But you are no longer living in that world. The true freedom comes when you realize that external approval is a bonus, not a necessity. It's nice to have, but you don't need it to be okay. When you can find that sense of safety and worthiness within yourself, the opinions of others lose their power. They can no longer make or break your day. And that is where true confidence begins. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, be sure to subscribe for more insights into how your mind works.